the college's professor.
Sir, pro skills here. Students call me Professor Skilling, Johnson and Wales University, and I have a special guest with me today. And this is a little different. We always talk about influencers from, being from the perspective of social media and everything they're doing. But there's so many individuals that are making things happen. And like I share with my students, everybody is an influencer in their own right, as long as they're doing things that have an impact in our society. This young fella's coming to us today. This is family right here. This is a young entrepreneur in the making, a young influencer in his own right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jordan Jackson. Jordan, what's going on, young fella?
How y'all doing? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're ready. You're a natural. You're a natural. So how many interviews have you done over the last weeks?
Total, I've done 4 interviews, public interviews.
All right. Were you nervous?
No, I kind of just so the first 2 were the first 2 were recorded, right? But the third and fourth one, they were live. So it's just I just got to put on the show. Not kind of put on the show, but when the lights come on, it's go time. So.
Oh man, it's in the blood, man. I know it. I hear it. That's what I tell the students all the time. You got to be able to turn on that switch, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Shine. And you've definitely been doing that. I'm so proud of all of your accomplishments to date. You've just graduated high school. How does that feel?
It feels amazing. It's been a long journey, but it was a good journey. I learned a lot over the course of those 4 years.
Hey, you learned a lot. So what are you looking to study?
I'm going into marketing.
Going to be going into marketing. So, if we had the horn over here, we drop the bomb, we give you all the yays, and really get that energy, because that's big. And I know your parents are proud of you, right? Your grandparents are proud of you. Your family's proud of you as a whole. Something happened, while you were graduating, right? We know this is COVID-19 has hit us, and that dynamic has really hampered a lot of individuals like yourself, students all across the country, right? It wasn't normal when we had to move to remote learning, the virtual learning. How was that period for you?
Going into remote learning, I wasn't, when it first happened, I was thinking, hey, we're gonna be out for 2 weeks, a little vacation, we'll be back to school, finish up my classes. I didn't think it was gonna pack the school year as it did. I missed out on, a lot of things closing up my senior year. But it was an adjustment, but it just shows how in life you have to adapt to certain things. So once again, it was a learning process. All
right, so that learning process happened. You adapted, like many students you had to, right? It was like a sink or swim, but the show had to go on, like you said. Then you find out that you're going to graduate and you're going to be the commencement speaker. Tell me, how did that make you feel?
Oh, it felt good. As a class president of, as a senior class president of Luella High School, it felt good that I was able to stand in front of my peers and speak to them about what's going on, in our community and in our country. So that felt real good.
So tell us, when did you find out that you were going to be giving that commencement speech as class president?
Well, it was talk about me giving that speech, a month in advance, but no one ever really got back to me. So I'm like, maybe I should just prepare something just in case or not. And then like a week before graduation, I get an email from the principal saying, hey, I would love for you to, open up our graduation and speak first. So I felt good. So I had a week's time to get prepared, but I did it. So
you did it. You made that happen. Oh, kudos to you. So now you prepare. So in a week, you put some time into it and you came up with a speech. All these things are going on in our world. Besides COVID-19, we're seeing a whole civil rights movement coming back to life, right? And you happen to be in the heart of it right there in Georgia, right? And things are going on. You've heard things going on. You're watching it. And as a young, Black young man, right, entrepreneur in his own right and what you're doing, did this have a profound impact in what you're about to write for your speech?
Actually, it did, because it's funny you say that. Originally, I wasn't planning on talking about, what's going on in our country right now as far as, social injustice. It wasn't until Rashard Brooks tragically passed away and where I made a decision like, hey, this is what I have to speak on, because it's fresh. It's imperative that people understand this, because, you see what's on the news, but you don't see how it impacts the youth, the students, the people that are coming up in the generation. So
All right. So let's before we really get into what ended up happening, let's go ahead and share. And let's see, you ended up getting interviewed in a couple news stations. Your speech that was delivered wasn't really your full speech that the school system ended up putting out there, allegedly, right? So now we have to go ahead and let's put it out there. Let's play it for everybody to kind of see what ended up happening.
All right.
Tonight, a Luella High School graduating seniors' Black Lives Matter speech has a major interruption. CBS 46's Barmel Lyons is live in Henry County, finding out if that glitch was intentional. Barmel?
Yes, that's right, Tracy. And the community is looking for answers. That graduate believing that glitch was more of an edit than an accident.
Mr. Jordan Jackson will start us off.
A graduate's Black Lives Matter speech cut short. Class President Jordan Jackson spent weeks working on his speech, which was approved by faculty and staff.
This is just around the time of Rayshard Brooks, was tragically killed by the police. And I was like, that's it. This is what I have to talk about. I know everyone doesn't want to hear it. It's going to make people uncomfortable, but this is what needs to be said.
After the graduation, calls came pouring in because the live stream link sent by Henry County Schools showed what looked like an edited version.
My parents, they were just immediately outraged about what happened, and they felt like, someone's behind this.
His parents taking to social media and the community speaking out. Former Luella High School teacher Mark Hammondtree was outraged.
I was sort of confused and angry, and then when I went and saw for myself, to me, it seemed intentional.
And took action, emailing the principal about the glitch. In response, Luella Principal Jerry Smith says our third-party live streaming provider had several streaming interruptions over the course of the graduation ceremonies, but I'm terribly sorry that this interrupted the impactful remarks. Jackson says no matter what, this is what he wants his class to take away.
And we have to become game changers in this game of life. So, if you're passionate about something, continue to be passionate about it and speak out.
Now, the Henry County Schools Communication and Public Relations Executive Director had this to say in email. He says there was absolutely no editing of any video of the district, school officials, or third-party vendor, which was not hired to provide any editing services. He also highlights that glitches like this have happened at past graduations. In Henry County, I'm Barmel Lyons, CBS 46 News.
Wow. Glitch. What is that? Glitchgate? They want to call it.
Might as well. Might as well.
So man, kudos to you. You are definitely a game changer. You're an influencer in what happened in that moment. When did you find out that potentially your speech wasn't being aired on how it was delivered?
So just graduated, just turned the task. So went out to eat with the family. Got home, tired, getting ready to lay down. My mom comes in. Well, my dad calls me first and said, hey, they cut out your speech. I was like, what you mean? What part? That's like where you said Black Lives Matter. But, I'm half asleep, so I'm not registering it. Mind you, there was profanity in the graduation from other students in their speech or something like, oh, they went up, to clean up everything. And they took out, the profanity that was in there. But my mom comes in the room, same time I'm on the phone with my dad. And like, they just cut out the speech. We said Black Lives Matter. I was like, yeah, I know my dad told me, but I'm still confused at this point. And it's not until I had to watch it for myself, so I fully understood what they were talking about. And so we went back on the YouTube to watch the entire thing only because all we had was a cell phone video from the stands. We didn't have like what they had. So that's what we were looking for. So they ended up cutting out, when I said Black Lives Matter, but we skipped through and we saw that they kept the profanity in there. So it's like,
that's from another classmate that did his speech.
Right. And it's hard to say that, it's a coincidence that it just glitched on that particular part.
On that moment.
And not anywhere else in the graduation. That's the only glitch throughout the whole entire graduation. It's 2 hours long.
Wow. So how long was your speech in its entirety?
Without, a lot of pauses or anything, just going through it's about 3 minutes, but on stage, I would say about 4, almost 5, maybe like roughly
Okay.
like 4.
So you delivered it. So it was live. Was that being on YouTube live at the same time, or was it a live stream where they were putting it on in real time?
Well, they said it was live real time, but the way it was played on YouTube, it looked like they went back just to clean it up, just like from transitions and stuff like that, so it could run smoothly, just like so it wasn't like weird, stages in the graduation where people like walking up or waiting for people to come up and stuff like that. So
And you could tell that. You could tell that.
Yeah,
so there was some editing, yeah. Just like what we're doing right now. Right now we're streaming. I could have put it on where it went live onto YouTube, but then I wouldn't be able to go back and edit it the same way. So, right, there's the way for me to go and record it. We are recording it, and then I can go ahead and post it later. So if they're live streaming it on there directly to YouTube, that would be challenging for them to go ahead and be able to edit it. They had to have done it to where it was being recorded. They can edit it, and then they post it on YouTube to be shared.
2 things that make it sound like kind of fishy about that, because I'm familiar when it comes to like editing, only because I made videos for like I had to do for class projects, stuff like that. I had to cut, edit, full like 40-minute videos. So I'm kind of familiar with it. And the way, and for a glitch, especially on a live stream glitch, 1 or 2 things going to happen. You're going to lose audio first, or you're going to lose visual. You're not going to cut to a different section.
Yeah, it's not going to change frames altogether.
It's not going to change frames, exactly. Yeah. And
like right now, like we can the speed of it can stop us, and you can hear us a little bit. But I would get, even if in that moment, right? Let's say it cuts at black, I'll still get Lives Matter, right? It's going to come back in some point. It's not going to cut out a whole.
Yeah, it's going to pick up where it kind of cut off a little bit. It's going to pick up right there, and then it's going to try to continue, but they're not going to skip to another frame. But then the second, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish.
So the second one is where they claim that they had, for every video for graduation, there's a backup video that's just full, like nothing touched, nothing. It's a full backup video. And they said they uploaded the backup. But in the backup was shorter than the original clip. So it had to be some form of editing.
Definitely.
So
you go on, you now find this out, and I know I found out through your mom. Your mom ends up posting, but go back to that moment when now both parents have kind of updated you on it. What is the conversation like? What is the immediate feeling on your side?
It's just I was still confused on like as to why, like it was just bad timing, like for someone to edit the speech or the glitch, so to say, during a time where social injustice is so prominent. That's why I was just so confused about, because like, why would somebody try to, censor, the phrase Black Lives Matter?
Right. And then your mom ended up putting out this post, and it was very eloquent. She was so proud of you, right? Like many of us are. And in that moment, she expressed it, and everybody was on there. And then from there, it was an outpouring of support. Did you get to read some of the comments?
Yeah, I read a lot of comments. It was just crazy how my mom's post blew up and the time it did. And it's just a lot of love from, family, friends, and even strangers. It was just a lot of love.
Well, when I teach social media marketing at the college level, we always talk about authenticity. It was an organic post. It was a sense of community. The timing is right and what was going on. It wasn't put out there for it to go viral. It was put out there because of everything, the love she has for you, and the fact that she knows the effort, right? Your family knows what you put into that speech. You know what's already been taken away from your class of 2020. So in that moment, don't take that away from you, right? Don't take away your right to freedom of speech and expression in that moment. So let's touch on that, because this has been something that, and you live in Georgia, right? There is a Congress potential candidate who's running for John Lewis's seat in your particular district. Her name is Miss Stanton. And I'll give you a little gist of it. So she posted something on Twitter the other day, and I happened to see it. And I don't like to get into these Twitter wars and battles, but
right.
But what she posted, I'm just going to give you the synopsis and then get your take, right? Because obviously you felt the need to incorporate some of the social injustices faced by, those, right, that are disproportionate from others. right? Especially you saw it in your backyard with Rashard Brooks. So she posted that up at Stone Mountain this past weekend, close to where you guys, right? You live there in Atlanta. So you saw there was a protest. There was a march going on. And she posted that video that was also viral. And then she said, if they can say Black Lives Matter or Black Power, right? Let me be correct with the quote. If they can say Black Power, or if we can say Black Power, why can't they say white power? That was her quote.
Wow.
So when you hear that, how does that make you feel?
And, I hear a lot of that, like, I kind of like the little tit for tat kind of thing, like,
yep.
Oh, y'all say this, we can't say this, or vice versa. Yep. But only reason that's a tough quote right there is because they're saying Black power because for so many years, there was no power for Black brothers and sisters, right? They were oppressed for so long and attempting to find that power. And now they have that power. They're going to use it, to the best of their ability. But if you're saying white power, that was only was to demean, the Black community and, Black families and Black men and women. So white power is kind of like derogatory in that sense, especially when you're trying to go against Black power. So it's preach,
Jordan Jackson. I have not coached you. I haven't said anything. You are an 18-year-old young man who just graduated from high school officially. And in that moment, you can tell that there's a difference. And I was so shocked and appalled by it that I had to respond. And I said, you're a queen. And for a queen that understands what's going on in our world, you should know better, pretty much. That was the gist of my response. And I'll tell you, they came after me. It was something that it was so many different comments. And I think in hindsight and looking back, I probably would have replied to a lot more people, because I think we need to have those tough conversations, because then you can kind of see where people are coming from. I think in that moment, and even on my side, in responding to her, I thought it was an ignorant question, right? I didn't think it was genuine. I think from an educator standpoint, I saw that she wanted engagement and the conversation. So that's great. You got that out there. You won on that side. But you know well that that's not something that, the difference between Black power. You just so eloquently said it yourself, right? You understand that this was something, Black power came because of oppression, right? A movement, oppression. We were oppressed. There wasn't equal rights for all. And still to this day, that's what we're saying. White power, you said derogatory. You're spot on, right? It was more, if you look it up, it's more associated with white supremacy. And when we say white supremacy, we think of Nazism. We think of that. And when we get there, we know that's something where they think they're the dominant race of all, and they're superior than anybody else. So that's a huge difference in what we're talking about. At the end of the day, the movement now, I will say, and we've seen in the Black Lives Matter movement, there have been everybody that's on board where things have been wrong. We saw that, right? Yeah. When you talk about protests and we talk about history in itself, that's in a way of expression. It's a time where that's the only way that some are going to listen. But now you, as an 18-year-old, are you looking forward to voting for the first time?
Yeah, I recently voted. This was, I want to say, last month.
Okay.
I voted for the first time. It was a great experience.
Oh, man.
Going in, knowing I had to vote, this summer, I try to pay attention as much as I can when it comes to politics. I'm not a person that likes to get into politics, but, I don't want to just click a random button, click a random name. So, I did my best to try to say, okay, this person's in my community and this is what this person's doing. I did that to the best of my ability. So I feel like this first time voting was a good experience.
I love it, man. So you realize that change happens from the local elections. It's not just wait until November. You're participating there. You exercise your right and you're proud so in doing that. And you're staying informed. You're coming from, a family that is very informed as well. They've done an amazing job raising a young man like yourself. And I think you're going to go on to continue to shine. So finish this for me. In 10 years, Jordan Jackson is doing what?
In 10 years, so 18 now, 10 years, I'll be 28. I've always told myself, well, my senior year, I made a statement to myself. I wrote down everything. I told myself, by the time I'm 30 years old, I'll no longer work for anyone. I'll be my own boss by the time I'm 30 years old, and I won't punch the clock anymore. So by the time I'm 28, I'm going into that, that mindset, getting myself paired to, to step away from kind of corporate America area and just be full entrepreneurship and run my own thing. So
I love it. I love it. So before you leave us, tell us a little bit about the background of the clothing line, what it is, and what you plan to do as you continue to grow and expand.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Black Clothing Company is spelled BLXCK, which stands for, it's kind of like an equation. So it's like bold leadership times creative knowledge. And, Black, that makes up a character, not necessarily focusing on a race, creed, or religion, just that the word Black, that builds a character, bold leadership, creative, and knowledge. That's a full character right there. And basically, Black is a lifestyle brand that promotes individuality, independence, and excellence, and also inspire others to be bold, to have leadership, always be creative, and fulfill themselves with knowledge. Like I said earlier, it's been going strong for 2 years now. It's really picked up a buzz as of lately during quarantine as well. And
so let's educate them. Let's educate. How do you start a T-shirt business? Is it just T-shirt? Is it clothing? Then you're gonna let us know where they can find the product they want to go ahead and purchase, and just kind of talk to us about the business side of that. How do you go ahead and monetize from a business? How do you track? How do you scale? So on and so forth.
Absolutely. So I get that question a lot. Many people believe that you need X amount of dollars to start a business. You need to do this and that. Honestly, save up, really just save up. I started my clothing line off of $200. To some, that's a lot. To some, that's not. But $200 got me to help me set up a website. I created my logo for free. And just networking. Networking is so important. That's really helped me how to start my clothing line, especially like my vendor who I get my shirts from as well. So, if you're
all about what you know, it's who you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you're looking to get shirts made just for a clothing line, just do it. I promise you, it's like 5-10 places in your local area that does shirts. And if you really talk to them, show them what you have, and tell them your story that you're a young entrepreneur, 9 out of 10, they're looking to help, young entrepreneurs grow. So
now what about quality, the type of shirt? What are you putting it on? Are you buying another brand? Is it made in the USA?
So I use Bella Canvas. It's it's a 50-50 cotton polyester. Only because I like it's a breathable material during winter, summertime, and all that. But when you're first starting out in a shirt, put your logo on what feels comfortable to you, and make sure it's something that you would wear. At the end of the day, you're starting your own clothing line. Don't run out the door and say, "Hey, would y'all like this? Would you like this?" Because you're gonna get 100 different opinions, and it's gonna throw you off track. So, focus on your own opinion first, and then you can pull in certain opinions. But control your own brand. If someone says they don't like it, then it's just not for them, unfortunately. And when it comes to business and monetizing, set your prices to where, you're able to make money. So like, for instance, if you're paying $5 to make a shirt, don't sell it for 10 only because you're only making the money back. You're not necessarily making, full profit. And you make your own prices, and you know what your clothing line is worth or your product is worth. Someone might say, like, originally I sold my shirt for $20. People say, $20, like, it's no Nike. I said, you're right, it's no Nike. It's Black Clothing Company. And this is why it's $20, right? It's just not for everybody. But you make your prices, you make your product, and it's yours.
There it is. So what is there another clothing line coming out? Is there a second collection, third collection?
So what's in the works right now, and it's kind of difficult going into college, that transition.
Yeah.
But what's in the works right now, I'm working on this thing called the X package.
Nice.
And this is where you can get a bundle of clothing, 3 items, you know, for one set price. You know, I haven't decided the price yet, or if you can like pick the items yourself, or it'd be a set, you know, items. That's coming out soon. And as well as ultimately, I want to start a service. It's called the Black Market, and it's where I'm going to take middle school students. It's going to be a 12-week program, and I'm going to just sit them down. And these are the students that want to be entrepreneurs, aspire to be entrepreneurs. And I'm basically going to take them, you know, through the course, you know, starting your logo, what's behind your brand, what's your mission, where you want to see it. And eventually I want them to get where they create their brand to an extent. And at the end of the 12-week program, I'm going to host the Black Market, and they're going to sell to the community. We're going to have people come out, and it's really just helping the youth. And that's the goal, helping the youth, motivating the youth to grow and become their own entrepreneurs.
Oh, that's a true game changer, Jordan, my man. I'm so proud of you. You're going to continue to inspire. You're going to continue to create, right? And you're going to continue to make things happen. So don't stop. Only sky's the limit. You got this. I want to see it. I want to be there for it. I want to see it happen. This is only, I mean, this is now your 5th interview, right? 5.
Right.
So I know by the time I speak to you again, it's going to be well over that. It's in your future, young man. So tell mom I said hello. Tell grandma, grandpa I said hello. And you continue to do big things, young fella. We'll stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Proud of you. Ladies and gentlemen, behind the influence of young fella, Jordan Jackson. Take care, brother.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Being studied by the college's professors.
And we owe it to those before and after us to leave a legacy. As a speaker, I'm a college educator. Are you an influencer? You definitely are. Everybody in this room is an influencer.